Alright, Drifters, how are you guys doing? I'm excited. We had our first Formula Skid meet. We have some good news, we have some bad news, but overall it was a really awesome meet, and I want to say thank you to every single person who came. I'll put a list of the people who came on the screen right now, and I will have to give you the good news first. So obviously we had a really awesome meet. The event and the track was perfect for our first event. We had a lot of people who were newer to drifting join. We also had some people who were not as new to it, who were very experienced. I was probably one of the most experienced there, but that doesn't mean you always win. I actually didn't win. We had some pretty big upsets. We had some pretty cool things happen, and just stay tuned to see what happens with that. But bad news is I did lose some footage. It is completely my fault. I mixed up the recording, and when I was supposed to stop it, and I actually recorded the wrong parts. So unfortunately, we don't have any audio from the event and the screen recording. But I did record like while I was in GTA, and I did edit as much of the footage as I have, and I will give you guys a brief commentary. So stay tuned, and yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so let's get into this. Here we start off with just showing off all the people who came. Thanks a lot to Zokahan777, me, OP Noob, DK Titan 51, Shiru Atsuya, ___ HR11, and Deception Rogue. I am not going to show the bracket right now, but if you want to see the end results, you can go ahead and fast forward to the end of the video with the final bracket. But we're going to start off with the first matchup, which is Zokahan777 versus me, OP Noob. So we start off with my first run. I think it was a decent run, but you know, I really did feel kind of cold. You can see I just missed, kind of went in between all the zones right there. I'm not going to lie, this is the first time I've ever really drifted under pressure. And you can kind of tell in this first run that I'm kind of going shallow in some of them. Some of the lines are decent. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for my input off the first run of mine. Could have been a lot better, but we'll see how the follow-up run from Zokahan looks like. Alright, so that was my first run. Now we have Zokahan coming up in his Schwarzer. He was actually the only person with a Schwarzer today. And not gonna lie, I kind of felt bad. He was the only one in the Schwarzer, because I really love the Schwarzer, and I was actually almost about to use it. He comes out with some really decent lines here. I was definitely a little bit worried off the gun, because Zokahan was really killing it in some of these corners, like you can see. But he does manage to spin out there a little bit, which will cost him a lot of points for the judging. And he spins out again, and at this point, I knew I had to get my stuff together. We both had a somewhat shaky run, but I knew I could pull myself together. But Zokahan really was getting some decent angles. Like, look at that. That's pretty good. That's actually really good. So after coming out of that, I want to say that we did match up again. I just don't have the recording for it. Unfortunately, Zokahan did not make it. I really got my stuff together for the next run, and he just couldn't add up the points in the second run. But so yeah, so I ended up pulling the victory in that one. And so let's go on to DK Titan versus Shiru. So here we start off. We see Shiru going at it in his white Fudo. He's really pulling off some decent angles at this point. We can see he does go off the track a little bit, which is a little unfortunate. So yeah, he's a little bit all over the place, but he is managing to get some decent drifts in between. So I think it actually was not a bad run for him. So I believe I don't have DK Titan's shot from that battle, but DK Titan did win that match, so not Shiru Atsuya. But this is the next match with Deception Rogue versus HR11. It's a battle of the two comets. So we see Deception really coming out pretty decently here. Grabbing some decent drifts around these angles. Getting some decent points here. Not a bad job. Now we have the challenger and the other retro, HR11. He starts out with a really good corner. And he does kind of mess up his momentum here, which will cost him. Let's see how the rest of the run goes. Let's see. He's missing a few zones, but he does make it up every once in a while. But this will really be a battle of consistency to see who pulls out ahead. Alright, so now we have Deception going back in for the second run. This is just my game cam. As you can see here, that's the judge right there. Thanks a lot to Guy with the Mic for coming and doing that for us. Deception is actually, he's a little bit all over the place, but when he brings it back together, he's really getting some decent points in the drift zones. And he hasn't really spun off the track, so that's going to save him a lot of points over his competitor. But he does spin out there, so that does cost him some points, but we'll see what happens in the next couple of runs. Alright, so I'm going to pause it just to explain. So Deception and HR did spin out in the first run. You didn't see it in HR's because the recording was cut short, but Deception spun out and then HR spun out quite a few times in the next run, and Deception did bring his stuff together, so he does move on. So this next match is me versus DK Titan. So I was actually very confident about this match. You can see him getting some really decent angles here. I mean, I'm about to wall tap right there. I really wish I could have. But from my point of view, I thought everything was going pretty well, but I'll just let the run speak for itself, so go ahead and just watch. So this score for this run was actually one of the highest scores of the night. I think it was the highest score. But now we have DK Titan. He isn't a Fudo, but although the Fudo can't really drift as powerfully as the Comet, the judge did keep that in mind, and his style and his attempt at really throwing that thing around the corners was kept in mind. So here you can see DK was really swinging it around the corners. And we'll just let this run pay off. But you can see he is grabbing a slice of that clipping zone every time he can. So, good job for him. Alright, so I'm going to pause again. Both of us had a really awesome second round of that battle. DK Titan actually pulled off a really good comeback in his second run there. Kind of showed that he was really competitive. And the judge, Guy with the Mic, told us that we were trading points run for run, and that he decided we had a tie, so we had to do a split decision and one more round to figure out who actually wins. So he said you might be able to do some things outside of the rules, so I decided to try this awesome jump drift, which completely failed, and as you can see, crash into the thing, which completely made me freak out because I couldn't pull myself together, and I spun out. So that actually costed me the run, and DK ended up pulling forward. So now we have, so like I said before, I did not win this match, but the next battle would be the final battle actually, DK Titan versus Deception Rogue. So we start out here with Deception Rogue, in the Comet Retro. So we'll see how this plays out. He managed to get a really bad spin out there in the first run, but he does recover his momentum. He spins out again, so this wasn't one of the prettiest matches, but now it's down to the line of how the rest of the other competitor does. Now we have the Fudo, we have the Challenger DK Titan, 51 coming in. Starts off the match well, grabbing those clipping zones like he did against me to beat me out. Yeah, for some reason the cops ended up showing up. Yeah, he's really grabbing those points, those clipping zones. But the first run is really awesome, but now we have Deception's answer, so let's see what he does. He's going around the track a little bit, kind of crazy, but he is managing to grab some of those clipping zones and regain his momentum. So I believe here we have a super crazy part. You'll watch this. This is the factor of the thing. He bounces, crashes, but goes up on the wall, drifts up the cargo containers, and recovers it. This will become very pivotal because our judge, Guy with a Mic, was so impressed that he decided to count this as extra angle points, which, I mean, I guess you can't get more angle than vertical in the air, so that was something pretty crazy. And you can see it finishes out the run okay. DK Titan had some screw-ups. I think he got a little bit nervous in his end run, and he just couldn't overcome. He spins out right there, which is huge, and this is what causes the very close decision. But because of that spin out, we do see that Deception takes the lead. So yeah, this is another spin out of DK's in the final thing, and he just ends up losing his momentum. So it wasn't the prettiest matchup, but Deception was the winner of the first Formula Skid event. So again, thank you so much. Look at that, another spin out. It's really too bad because DK was doing so well, so consistently well throughout the whole event. But yeah, so that was our first event. I apologize for the recording again. I will do my best to make sure I have all the recordings right for the next time. But till then, take care everyone. Please stay tuned to our announcements for the next events. If you want to get involved, just message me on Instagram at drift_streeters or comment on our videos below. I try to get back to you guys as much as possible. Also, one awesome shout out to Black Sheep TV. He shouted us out on his channel, and he really got a lot of people interested in us. So thank you very much. Sorry this video is not the most concise, but I'm doing my best with what I've got, and I'll get better with time. So hang in there, drifters. Keep drifting sideways. Hit me up sometime. We'll drift around. Nice to see ya. This is Drift Streeters, leader OP Noob.